What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different. I'm going to be highlighting the group, the community, the hashtag called Divestors. Now, before I even dive into this, right, let me just give a quick overview of what Divestors are for those who may not know. So divestors essentially are a group of black women online who essentially say that they're divesting from the black community, divesting from black men, and they're going to seek greener pastures in other non-black communities with non-black men. I will say the best way to think of divestors, think of them as if they are essentially the female version of SYSBM. Like, if you've heard of SYSBM, and if you've heard of passables, right, this whole ideology of black men saying they're gonna go to non-black women, go to non-black communities because they're leaving the community, they're leaving black women, right? It's essentially the same rhetoric except it's black women. That's what divestors are, right? And the reason why I want to address it because I recently made a video called Black Men Bashing Black Women. I also made a live stream called Black Men Bashing Black Women, right? And in both the video and the live stream, I addressed the SYSBM and the Paso Bros in regards to the male side, right? And one thing I said was that the number one reason why this was not going to work for black men, the SYSBM and Paso Bros stuff was not going to work for black men because it ignores the racial reality, right? Is that when you leave your group and you go to these other groups of people, you're going to face a lot of issues just not going to be able to overcome. You're going to be a guest in their community. And I talk about how when I tried to raise this up with the males, the black men, they didn't want to listen. And of course, we saw what happened, right? When they went overseas, they realized that, hey, it doesn't matter how much you've dated this non-black female. It doesn't matter how much you've been with this non-black community. You are not going to be part of the community. And they're going to remind you that every single day. You are a guest there. But I sort of addressed that, right? But now, what I'm seeing is the same reckoning that occurred with the Passport Bros and the SYSBM is now starting to occur in regards to divestors. Because when you see what happened online, right, with the whole divestors thing, there is a growing number now of, I think, black women who have started to realize that the same way black men cannot SYSBM or Passport Bro the way into non-black communities, you're not going to be able to divest your way into non-black communities as well. And don't worry, in this video, I'm going to document the reasons why, that's not going to work. And why the divestors movement is going to fail, and why in many ways has already failed in regards to the pursuit of seeking greener pastures in other communities, right? But when you look at the whole, divestor thing, when you look closely, they have a lot of similarities with the SYSBM dudes or the guys who make the bashing black women content. Many of these women are women who are older in age, right? Who are single mothers, who are bitter, or who've gone through some trauma. Now, obviously, if you've gone through trauma in your life, or you feel like you've had black men who have not done you well growing up, or you have a black male who's a father of your kid, but it's not treating you right, obviously, you have the right to express those things. But I think the problem is when you allow your trauma, your grievance, your anger to blind you to such a point that you're saying, I'm going to go and purposely put myself in a dangerous situation in a non-black community just to get back at black men. That's when they cross the line. And I personally believe that the reason for SYSB and Paso Bro is a little bit different than divestors. I believe that the main driver for the whole divestor movement is that a lot of black women have gotten tired of seeing image after image after image after image of successful black men dating non-black women, or videos or popular black men saying, oh, I only did non-black females. So I think this is a way for them to kind of get jealousy or kind of get back. Well, since you don't want us, we don't want you too, right? And, I understand where it comes from, right? When your male counterpart is telling you they don't want you, it's going to be a physical reaction, okay? But of course, when it comes to the, black males and the SYSBM and the Paso Bros, we saw a similar thing, right? A lot of them felt like they weren't getting the respect they deserve, and they hopped over to their community. And we see how that ends up, right? But recently, I was going through, my YouTube feed, watching the videos, and I was seeing how there seems to be a lot of just chaos happening in Divestors space, right? A lot of white males who have been in the divestor, space have turned out to essentially being what I always knew, right? Just there to eat off black women's insecurities, right? A lot of the black female divestors who are part of those spaces, in many ways, you find out they're not really dating out, they're not really succeeding out, and many of them are just bitter, right? But when we look at the situation, we have to ask ourselves, right? Why is it that the vast majority of these divestors or this divestor movement is failing? And like I said before the video, the reason is because just like the SYSBM and the Paso movement, the divestors, their ideology does not align with reality. In the real world, people operate in groups. In the real world, human beings form groups to extract resources and to defend the territory. And so when you leave your group, whether it's an ethnic group, racial group, or national group, whatever it is, right? When you leave your group and you go to another group of people, it's never going to be the same as you being your own group. Even if they're nice to you, whatever, you're going to be reminded all the time that, hey, you are a guest here. They're going to remind you that all the time, and they're not going to let you get away with that. All right? But there are 4 reasons, in my opinion, why the whole divestor thing and the whole SYSB Impassable thing was never going to work, right? You have the cultural issue, the family issue, the children issue, societal issue, right? Let's start with the cultural issue. When a black woman decides to divest and she gets with a non-black man, right? Because you guys come from different groups of people, different communities, there is going to be cultural clashes, right? You're going to have to explain to this non-black man certain cultural cues that, he's not familiar with. You're going to have to explain to this non-black man certain topics or issues that he may not be familiar with. And you're going to have to also have tolerance towards the fact that he may share certain views on topics that does not align with you. What happens if you get with a non-black man? He tells you, "I don't believe in reparations," or I believe that black women, are loud-mouthed single mothers, but you are the exception. You see a non-black man who said, "Well, I believe that black people need to close up our bootstrap, but you're the exception." How do you deal with that? Okay, so that's one of the cultural issue, right? The second is the familial issue, right? The family issue. Even though this non-black man may be willing to overlook the racial differences or group differences and deal with you, the family may not be so accepting. And when you deal with the family, whether directly or indirectly, they're going to let you know that they may tolerate your presence, but they don't accept you. Because the expectation was for that non-black man to get with a woman of his community. Now, some of them will just be outright and tell you, "Yeah, we don't want you anywhere over here," okay? But a lot of them, at least, I think, especially nowadays, at least are decent enough to not be that blatant. But as a black female, you will feel it, okay? The third thing is the child issue. When you're growing up with this biracial kid, okay, this half black kid, right? This kid is going to face a lot of issues because 9 times out of 10, the non-black side is not going to accept the kid. I've seen this so many times. And by the way, I'm speaking only for black, but this applies to both black men and black women. I've seen it all the time, right? When a black person gets married or has a kid with a non-black person, most of the time, the non-black side of the family does not accept the kid. So if a black man gets with an Indian woman, right, the Indian's not going to accept the kid. If a black woman gets with a white dude, the white family is not. I've seen it all the time. most of the time, the non-black family will not accept the kid. Okay, and they may even face racism from the non-black family members, and so you're gonna have to deal with that issue. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that wherever they go, they're gonna have this identity crisis, right? Think of Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was lucky because when she grew up in America, she was able to just get over being biracial, right? She didn't have to deal with that issue. But when she went to the UK, she got a treatment, right? White people gave her that black treatment. And Meghan Markle, even now, does not know how to deal with that because she so far she was able to kind of get around it. But how are you gonna deal with that issue? Okay. But the fourth thing, and in my opinion, this is the biggest reason I think why people don't interracially date, is a societal consequence. Not only are you going to deal with the fact that everywhere you go, you're going to have to defend your relationship, not only are you going to have to deal with stares, but you're also going to have to deal with this major risk that if that relationship does not work out, you are essentially completely excommunicado from your community. You know, it reminds me of the John Wick movie, right? When the High Table, got kicked John Wick out, and he said, and Winston said, John Wick, you are now excommunicado. You are no longer associated with us. That's in my opinion, out of everything I just listed, the number one reason, in my opinion, why people don't really interracially out is the fourth reason, which is the fear of being excommunicated. That if you go out here with a non-black person, right, or I guess a non-black man, and it doesn't work out, and especially if you have a biracial kid, if it doesn't work out, there is this fear that you're gonna be excommunicated. In other words, if you try to go back to your community, they may not view the same way, right? You're going to get shamed. Oh, she was dealing with Brad, right? Like there's an increasing number of black men now that are saying, look, if a black female's out here with a non-black dude, I don't want to deal with her. I'm seeing that more and more, which is very interesting to me. But what I'm saying is, because of that, those four reasons, that's the reason why it was never going to work. And if you see, most of these the divestors, right, for the most part, vast majority of them are not interracial dating. Most of them just spend their time talking online. Same thing when it comes to the SYSB and Paso Bro crowd. Okay? These dudes are not really, like, the vast majority of the black men online who are SYSB and Paso Bros are not actually doing it. They're just dudes in their 30s or 40s, right, who are bitter or angry, living vicariously through YouTube channels. That's what it is. Online. I'm gonna give an example. You'll have some like YouTube video of this black dude in the Dominican Republic, right? Oh yeah, I'm out here passport, right? You have like thousands of black men in chat. That's right, brother. But all these dudes couldn't even afford to go to the Dominican Republic, right? Most of these guys are somewhere with a black female. Like, this is the behavior I'm seeing. Same thing when it comes to divestors, right? You see a black woman, right? Well, girls, you gotta divest. You got thousands of girls in the chat. Yeah, girl. Most of these girls are either dealing with black or just single. My thing is this. Black people, I just hope that black people finally come to realize that even regardless, and by the way, this is something I really want to talk about, right? Even regardless of the issues you face within your own community, at the end of the day, there is nothing in this world, right, that can replace your people. That's the reality. Even with all the, it's kind of like, think of your own personal family, for example, right? All families have problems. But no matter how many problems your family has, nothing can really replace you can't replace your family. You just can't. Even if it's not working out. Nothing's gonna fill that void. Okay, getting with me going out here and getting with a Becky it's not. I know it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same as being with a woman who looks like me. It's not going to be the same. No matter how much I lie to myself, it's not going to work. And I just hope that black people wake up and start to realize that even regardless of the issue you have in your community, it's better for you to deal with those issues and try to find a way forward. But it's like, you should never really find yourself in a situation where you're in another community being disrespectful. Here's the look. You may have problem within your own group, but guess what? It's still your group. is still your people, right? And there's a sense of comfort that comes with that. The moment you step out, if you even slip for a second in another community, they'll remind you quick that you were a guest there. Jonathan Majors, okay? Jonathan Majors, even I will say even Meghan Markle, even though Meghan Markle is really not black in my opinion, you know, she's not fully, but still, think about how Meghan Markle got treated. Like, white people are still going at her even now. That's what happens when you go into another community. Is that anything you do is not enough. If you do anything they don't like, they'll never let it go. They'll remind you, like they remind Meghan Markle all the time. Look, it doesn't matter if Harry's with you. You'll never be one of us. Okay, but I want to go ahead and put this video that you know of this black woman and her, you know, and really what I've been talking about. Let's go ahead.
In the comments, this is a personal testimony as someone who has dated outside of my race, plenty, okay? A lot of y'all like what you see when you date a black woman. You love the beauty of black women, which I can't blame you. You love the aesthetic. You love how different we are. You love our bodies. But the problem is a lot of y'all don't even like black people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Bruh, where are my black women at that have dated white men? Because y'all know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. The black women who have literally experienced being called the N-word by the white man that they're dating. Let's talk about white men that have literally had children by black women, but can't stand black people. Why do y'all do that? It honestly, I'm discombobulated because make it make sense. Hold up, let me do some math real quick. Yeah, it's not adding up because how you gonna date somebody and then just pretend the whole time like you really mess with them and fuck with them, and whole time you racist as hell, can't stand me? True story. I have a friend who's half white. She says her dad is a stone cold racist. When I say this white man hates it that his daughter identifies as a black woman. Explain that to me. Please. I want to know. Get in the comments and explain it to me. Because y'all been doing this shit since slavery and even before then. Yeah, because we haven't forgotten. We ain't forgot. So y'all need to stop. If y'all really aren't down for black culture and black people, stop dating us. Because it's actually very disrespectful and it's hurtful. And I'm not with it. So stop.
Yeah. Yeah. But and guys, I uploaded a video on my channel so y'all can see that. But here's the reality, and let me go ahead and answer this black woman's question. Well, it's actually not complicated. It goes back to what I said in this video. Even though, look, think about it this way, right? If you're a black female, and this applies to black men too, I'm supposed to black, right? If you're a black female and you are interacting with a non-black male, what do you really have in common with him? Like, there's nothing tying you to this dude. The only thing that connects you to him is that he's fucking you, or that you have a kid with him. That's about it. But outside of that, like, fundamentally, you guys come from different groups of people. When you wake up in the morning, when you go to sleep, he is still a white dude, you're still a black woman, right? He is still a non-black guy, you're still a black woman. That doesn't change. It's not this, like, there's nothing really tying you outside of you guys having, being in a relationship, having sexual intercourse, or having a kid. That's about it. And so just because the guy is fucking you, or relationship with a kid, that doesn't change the fact that fundamentally he's still white at the end of the day. That's still his community. That is the fact that at the end of the day he's still a non-black dude, and he's not a part of the black community. See, if you have a black male and a black woman who are together, even if they have some issues, even if they separate or if they separate, at the end of the day, they're still a part of the same community. That's the fundamental difference. You're still a part of the same group. You may have all these problems. You may go at each other. But at the end of the day, you're still a part of the same group of people. But when you that's the reason why even the black and the black woman who may fight each other, right? When it comes to certain issues, like when it comes to like slavery or reparations, right? They all agree. Why? Because they may fight each other, but they're still part of the same group. But when you're dealing with someone from another community, guess what? There's nothing tying you together except for the fact that you're having sex with them, you're in a relationship with them, or you're having a child with them. But that's about it. Outside of that, you're part of separate groups of people. Okay? And that's just that. If your relative groups go to war with each other, whose side are you going with? Okay? Like, for example, this black woman, right? If you're having a conversation with your white husband about the Alabama brawl, is your white husband going to side with the white folks who jump on the black security guard, or is he going to side with the black people? Like this stuff you got to deal with every single day. And I feel like I don't know what it is, but I've just been noticing that whether it's black men or black women, I've been seeing this behavior of just running to other groups of people. Right? I addressed it with the SY being a pastor, bro, and now I'm addressing the divestors. But what black people need to understand, look, whether it's a black woman who is divesting or a black man who's doing the passive one house of BM, right? Understand, the moment you step out of your group and you deal with another group of people, right? You are a guest there. Okay? They may be nice to you. They may date you. They may have sex with you. Hell, they may even marry you. They may even have a child with you. But guess what? Even with all of that, you will never be a part of the group. AKA Meghan Markle. It doesn't matter that she has sex with Harry, had a kid with Harry, married Harry. It doesn't matter. She will never be a white woman. That's how it works. Okay? And it's like, and by the way, it doesn't just happen to black women, right? Because we just saw what happened to Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, he got into Hollywood, was blown up. He got with his white girl, and apparently, right, the white girl accused him of assault, but we later on found out that apparently what she was saying may not be true. It looks like what actually happened was he was trying to leave her, and she was like, "Oh, you gonna leave me?" And she, put hands on him and essentially called the cops on him. What that situation sounds like is like, she went out here and essentially got with this black dude, and she knows that most white men, right, the moment they know that you've been with a black guy, they're not gonna deal with you. And so from her point of view, that look, I got with Jonathan Major as a white woman, right? And now he's gonna leave me, and I already know that most white men are not gonna deal with me now. So that's why she did what she did to tank his career, right? But see, even though the evidence is against, it's on Jonathan Major's side, the prosecution still wants to keep going. It's like even when they showed up for the trial date, right? Apparently the prosecution still asked for delay. So just. But nevertheless, that's the reason I've always said, look, I don't deny that, black people have their own issue. I don't deny that black people got issue, right? But what I'm saying is this: every group of people have their own internal problems. There is no group of people in this world that is perfectly clean. We all have our own issues. But the difference is that it is one thing to have internal issues within your own family, and it's another thing for you to leave your family and go to another family, another group. It's not going to work. If I am within my family and I have problems, yeah, we can fight, but it's still my family. The moment I move to another family's home, guess what? It's not the same, because at the end of the day, no matter how much they accept me, I'm not a part of their family. Okay? And there's going to be limits drawn for me. They're going to remind me, hey, look, we're cool and all, but you are a guest here. So at the end of the day, man, look, it's and just so you guys know, right? The reason why I even made this video is because apparently right now the whole divestor movement is having a breakdown because it's starting to realize that a lot of the content creators will lie to them, right? In other words, the same way the Passobles and the SYSBM fell apart, divestors fell apart too. The SYSBM and Passover, when it came to the Passobles, right, we realized what is that when black men go to these countries, these non-black countries don't want you fucking the woman, right? And when it came to SYSBM, they realized what? When you date out of your race, non-black people don't want you fucking the women and don't want you in their communities. Now, when it comes to the divestors, they realize what? A lot of the non-black men that were pandering to them in these chats don't really want to deal with them, okay, for the most part, and men were using them, right? Another thing they realized that a lot of these divestor YouTube channels, right, were black women who were still dealing with black men or were still trying to get with black men, right? Many of them, right, had no shot of even getting with a non-black dude. But we're going online portraying this image of if you know you can you can make it out. So now that it's all been exposed as just both sides, in my opinion, right? Both sides have been exposed as being frauds. It's coming to an end. My only hope is that this phase of black YouTube will finally come to an end, right? Hopefully we can move on to so we can talk about real issues when it comes to black people and not have this competition of who can date out more. That's what it sounds like to me, right? You got black men saying we can date out more. You got black women saying we can date out more. Like, no. And it's like, and the crazy part is both sides are foolish because the moment they step out of the community, right, they get called N-words behind closed doors. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there, but just say, look, divestors, look, you guys are going to end up the same way the Passobles, the SYSBM thing, and to be honest, it's already happening to you guys, okay? When you go to these non-black communities, what you're gonna realize is that number one, no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be a part of the people. Number two, these non-black men, although they may deal with you, their preference is still gonna be their women. And number three, the moment that situation stops or the marriage or relationship stops, you're essentially gonna find yourself in an excommunicado situation where not only does that non-black community not accept you, but even if you try to come back to the black community for the most part, they will have a hard time accepting you back, especially if you come back with a biracial kid. Okay, we gotta be honest about that. With that being said, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Tell me what you guys think in the chat. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Hammer out.